Okay, we've got everything we need, so let's get to work putting it all together. Place one of the PVC casings on a slab of concrete and drop in 1/3 tablespoon of kitty litter. Now let's make sure we keep the tube firmly on the concrete so the clay doesn't spill out the bottom. Then slide the oak ramming rod inside and smack the top firmly with a rubber mallet. It's going to need about 5 to 10 good whacks to compact it as tight as we need it, and you can see it'll make a nice little clay plug at the bottom of the tube. Let's repeat this process 2 more times until the plug is 3/4 of an inch thick, which you can see is conveniently indicated by the marking on the stick. If too much clay gets packed in, no worries. You can just twist the dowel around a few times to loosen the top layer, then pour out the extra clay until it lines up perfectly. At this point, we're ready to add the white mix. This stuff is extremely light and fluffy, so it's important to push the ramrod down very slowly. Once it's compacted by hand though, we can ram it with the mallet just like we did the clay until the rammed white mix lines up perfectly with the next marking. The last step for this simple motor is a kitty litter end cap. This will be 3/4 of an inch thick as well, the same as the one we made before, but here you can see there's still little room left in the tube, and you'll see what that's for in another project video. Okay, our rocket motor is just about finished. The only thing left to do is make the nozzle. For these motors, I use a 7/32" drill bit, which happens to be the exact length and width we need to turn this rammed powder tube into a core-burning rocket. Now to gauge the depth on how far in to drill, we can use the markings on the ramrod to measure exactly where the white mix ends, then mark the drill bit at the point where it lines up with the clay. Now it's really important to drill this out very slowly and carefully because remember, this is a rocket motor and you don't want to set it off by accident. I'm drilling mine out by hand, so it's easy to control any heat generated from the friction. When the marking on the bit lines up with the bottom of the casing, the rocket motor is finished and should look something like this. Now to test the power of these motors, I went way out into the desert, miles and miles away from any people, property, or anything flammable. When this one lit off, I was blown away by what it could do. The motor just shot up 2,300 feet high, and of course if we've got rockets going that high, we're going to need a way to deploy some kind of a recovery system. So the next step is to give our rocket motors a built-in time delay and a parachute ejection charge. The 100-gram batch in this video is enough to make 2 E45 equivalent motors with about 20 grams of propellant left over, which is what I mix with baking soda to slow the burn and create a 5-second delay. So watch for those modifications in another video. Well, now you know how to repurpose some simple household items into powerful hobby rocket motors for less than 50 cents each. Just make sure you have the right permits, location, and common sense before you try launching them. Well, that's it for now. If you like this project, perhaps you'll like some of my others. Check them out at thekingofrandom.com.